that will help us, because these are technical things, you know, the technical things, these are theories. They take
Sir, your voice is bit cracking.
oh, is it?
No, sir, couldn't hear you.
Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
हाँ,
Yes, sir.
अब better है?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Feel free to, because since we are dependent upon technology, at least for some time again, we had not expected this to happen 2021. But what can one do? Not in our hands. But feel free to interject and tell me whenever, because otherwise there will be no use whatever I'm speaking out, right? I was talking about a quick recap, like the way we talked about theories of international relations, approaches, various positions. You remember? I introduced to you in simple ways how are we analyzing them, summarizing them. That's why always in every lecture or in every topic, objectives are very important. Through objectives only, you will be able to know better what the scene is like, right? Articulation, then saw this example of a symbolic way of showing that how a country is trying to give up on its nuclear weapons, but otherwise what the situation is, right? This is what we call diplomacy. Even when we ask someone some question, we always say, don't be diplomatic in answering the question. That's what the word means. So even the word diplomatic and word diplomacy is also derived from international relations. We will see in detail what it means, what are its features, why is it important, you know, all kinds of diplomacy that we are talking about, right? And then what we did was also studying about paradigms. What is a paradigm? What are the various paradigms that we did, right? Then what is the level of analysis and the theory? We did that. Then we concluded with this chart last time, where we had drawn up a summary of various theories of IR or various paradigms of IR, right?
Yes, sir.
You recall this from last time, and we are going to start with understanding and explaining what realism is and how did it start. What was the main theory of realism? Okay, and one of the first important person who started theorizing upon realism was Thucydides. It's a Greek name, because see, many of these academic developments are coming from Greek insights, and that's why the names of the philosophers and thinkers are also in Greek. So Thucydides' insight into international politics. I mean, he had already visualized certain nature. So like we will focus on realism and liberalism today. I will have another class with you, I think, because these days we are having replacement for economics. Yesterday, I think Bankim sir took that class. Today, I will be taking that class. Yeah, at 11:30. So I'll have a double class with you today.
Sir, economics sir will not come anymore. Or what? We are not attending with
I think he
lectures.
has. I think he has COVID right now.
Acha, okay.
That's
Yes,
the news I got. So depends person to person. Like I was taking class even while I had COVID, if you remember. But then can't say the same for everyone, no? I mean, you know that. Uh, like I felt even better while I was.
Ability.
Yeah, and for me, it was like I felt even better while I was taking your class during COVID. It made me change my mood and my mind at least. Otherwise, you have to be strong mentally, even if you get affected, right? In these situations. And of course, it's about, as you said, body immunity and physical. So, so today I think I will be taking his slot. His class is at 11:30, right? I think.
Yes, sir. Yes. Last lecture.
yes, sir, at 11:30.
Okay, fine. So QSI, so when I'm saying realism, and after realism, when we talk about liberalism, they are identifying markers of the nature of international relations and politics. Okay, so there is a theory that develops out of that. So let's say, let's look at these pinpoints. Like international politics is about the exercise of power by states. Distribution of power determines state options. Okay, humans are motivated by power to rule others. Distribution of power is cause of war and peace. International politics is beyond morality. Hence, realism focuses on the problems of international conflict, wars in particular. These are the introductory insights into the way realism developed. It's the first, actually, realism and liberalism are the most important theories of international relations. Fine. The notion of power, and you know, power is quite central to political science, as always. So it is quite, so here power is seen in a very strong sense, that power determines how strong you are, how, look at the third point. Now, third point is where it is defining power together with the way human beings are. Humans are motivated by power to rule others. Like, you know, there is a general tendency to override others, to dominate others. Uh, Beyond the point, one might always think that that's so very negative about things, but then mm, realism starts with the assumption of aggression and aggressive power, and you know, things like these. It's about exercise of power, distribution. These are his theoretical insights into distribution of power that determines state options. Humans are motivated. Distribution of power is the main reason for war and also for peace. Thus, international relations or international politics is beyond all these norms and morals, because after all, it's about showing your power over others, exercising your power. I mean, and there are many, later we'll see there are examples through which they have proved their point of what they are saying. Right? So it's beyond morality. It is not just about ethics and moral science. Thus, realism focuses on problems of conflicts, especially wars. Why wars are fought? It is, even till date, it is about power over a territory. For example, when India and Pakistan go to war with each other. I mean, one can always, so if you think of more and more examples, connect them to these concepts that we are talking about, especially in terms of power uh, at the moment. And then you will understand better what realism really means, right? Analysis of, for example, you know, wars have always been fought in the history of mankind. So analysis of the Peloponnesian War by the Athenian general Thucydides has influenced realist theory for nearly 2500 years. Just give me a minute. Okay, just 1 second. Sorry. Uh, Sorry about it. Something very urgent, but it's fine. So, okay. So Thucydides has influenced the realist theory. I mean, this is one of his representations. So, what are the assumptions when we are understanding what realism is, right? There is an anarchy around us. This word you all must know because it's a very basic word in political science. Anarchy, ANAR. You can see in the first point that's mentioned here, which basically means chaos. Chaos, like there is no organized authority, no central ruler. Let's go through these points. Proceed. In isolation, if we see these points, we will still rack our minds and maybe not able to. But if we read them, that's another very good trick or a good way. It's like I'll use the IR word. In IR, this word is very important. Strategy. It's a very good strategy to understand.
Sir, can anarchy mean like there is no government, but the people are governing the state or the like
Huh.
the trade?
You are quite yes, Karan. You are quite closer to what I meant. Anarchy, in other words, also means law of the jungle. जैसे जंगल में animals होते हैं. And so it's the same way, like even Aristotle, father of political science, had said that man is a political animal. After all, okay. So there is no governance, there is no rule, regulation. There is a chaos, but still the society is going on. Among that chaos, there have been so many periods in history when anarchy has prevailed on human mankind. Okay, so you are quite right in identifying that. Did you get my point, Karan?
Yes, sir.
But then realism. But let's understand what realism has to propose. State as the central actor. Okay, so I mean, in order to address this anarchy, everything is centered around the state, and that's why we need a state desperately. Hence, a state as a central actor. International politics is politics between states. State as a unitary actor. These are very important features, defining features of what state as the central actor, state as a unitary actor. Now, what is so central actor? Like even IR is politics among the states. Unitary actor behavior is driven by the conditions in the system, not by internal politics. So it's one unit altogether. Okay, one thing is a system level, like a holistic approach. Entire, like for example, Marwari University is existing together as a unit. Internally, there are Department of Engineering, MBA, law, all kinds of teachers, employees, staff. I mean, it's, so when we say these are very important features that are identified when we say state as a unitary. The behavior is driven by the conditions in the system, and state as a rational actor, where it is acting in a national interest. So it's like a solid entity, quite focused. Okay, all authority is centered in there, existing strongly as one unit rather than a divisive and division. Not like that, it's one unit, and acting out of rationality, reflecting the national interest of the nation. Say why I'm saying this is because based on these assumptions, because if there is no centrality, no state, hence anarchy. So it's all linked, it's all connected, right? I'm saying this because eventually, and after this, we will see that how it is out of a selfish nature of the state that realism strongly assumes that this entire IR or international relations or politics is going on. Okay? This part is very, very important. So anarchy is when there is no centrality. State has a central actor, unitary actor, and a rational actor. Right now, you can ignore the terms dilemma, security. Like, it will sound very new to you, and you might be very shocked, surprised, and you'll be like, oh, what is all this? Right now, focus on the points we are doing. And then we will summarize it all. You will be able to understand it better. Hence, the primary motivation of a state is survival. And the state must rely on self-help to survive. Primary motivation of a state is survival, and the state must rely on self-help to survive. So it's a survival instinct that motivates the state. So you see, we are getting to that point of the core of the realist theory. Insecurity, and now you will understand why it is called the security dilemma. Insecurity leads states to arm themselves. I mean, that is the logic given even today. And any country goes, definitely United States of America, but so many other countries as well, including India. I mean, this insecurity from your neighbors, this insecurity of being dominated upon. Why do you think people are going? Not now, maybe recently, because now we are all in the grip of this pandemic all over the world. But then, why do you think people arm themselves up? Armaments, ammunition, nuclear. There was a kind of race that had entered once between India and Pakistan. Like India conducted 5 nuclear tests and Pakistan. That's because of insecurity. Insecurity is the word. Hence, that can lead to an arms race. Okay, and that's the so these are all the features. We will not get into game theory, but let's complete this point by understanding what the essence is. Okay, so and last part also, it's in a very technical short form. Focus on point number 1, 2, 3, because there is a logic or reason given behind the way states exist, behind the way states survive. And that's why it is the rational actor, unitary actor, central actor that can address the prevailing anarchy as well as the chaos. This is very technical. Don't have to go into it. I will edit it and then send it to you so that you don't get confused. Okay. When I share this, probably this week, when we complete realism and liberalism, when I share this, I will edit, like I will remove the slides which are too technical and not so relevant. We'll focus on the main aspects. So when we talk of power in realism or realist theory, what does it imply? What does it mean? What are its effects? It is necessary to obtain other goals. All states compete over power. And the key question is, what is power? We are really redefining power, because since last semester as well, we are quite concerned with this question, with this concept and notion of what power is in political science, right? And realism really explores it further in an international context, but also in a general way of how do we see power. Sources of state power comprise military resources, economic strength, technology. Even present day, when you see, even in the present scenario, when we are talking about state power, like, state power of any country, China, India, USA, any country in sub-Saharan Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, Brazil, so many. It's about the military, about the economy, and about the technology. There are others, but when you compare this to other countries, or when you are really, identifying a mark, like what is the mark of development of a country? So, but in that case, again, economy and technology is fine, because technologically superpower, for example, much larger is Japan these days. Why do you think United States is quite cautious of it? Because they have developed a lot of military. They have developed the largest military probably in the world. No matter all these wars that had happened, US war in Iraq, US war in Afghanistan, all these oil reserves and all these politics, that was a show of its military might, which further proves how relevant realist theory is. You have to know it in terms of examples. Otherwise, you just can't learn these points and then you will forget them, and then you will be like, what it means, right? So military, economy, technology. So out of so when we are analyzing it, okay, this is very interesting, because at the same time, after stating the features of what realism refers to or implies, it is not really considered very ethical. After all, in all social sciences and also in international relations, we are so very concerned about ethics. Realism is often considered not very moral, amoral. Altruism may risk state survival. Government has no moral obligation to others. As few slides said, few slides ago, when we were saying it is beyond morality. There is no place of morality. So out of normative concerns, it is quite down with it. Like, it's quite low on it. It can be easily criticized on that ground. Okay. When we say anything being this point mentioned, altruism is when you are sticking on to the facts and reality around you. Being altruistic, it's an English word used quite often in social sciences, and being altruistic. So counter argument will be pursuing the, okay, now this is the argument which will come about from the side of the realists. Okay, from the side of the realists, it might come about. Pursuing the national interest is moral. Okay. Unethical means may save millions of lives. Power politics is needed to stop greater evils. And that's the justification. That's the answer to the criticism that is leveled against. That is leveled against the realist theory. There is a depiction. I know we are going ahead with the lecture one after the other. I don't want you to be feeling too, bored with it. But you see this interesting picture, probably depicting White House in the United States of America at the background, right? And there are two men walking out of that White House, and I mean, this is a very good. There is a very good satire, a spoof, a humor. But how do you know for sure you've got power unless you abuse it? I mean, that's also another uh, form of taking realism to another extent. Like, I mean, these are the critical features. So, now that's the point. Realism has defined power, but now the question is, does it say about abuse of power? I think it's mainly concerned with national interest, right? It's mainly concerned with national interest. It's mainly concerned about survival. But what about the abuse of power? Its effect is seen as the abuse of power, because realism proves that eventually power is abused and used in a dominating sense, and that's how the world survives. Okay, I don't want to confuse you in here. Right now let's stick to the features of what realism is. But then this is a very good way of mm, okay, let me explain this point further. How are we connecting through this picture realism together with how are we connecting realism together with this abuse of power concept? US soldiers fire a mortar at Taliban forces, Kandahar province, Afghanistan. Realists stress the importance of military, but warn that it may not be suitable for them. So it's a clarification now. But it is indeed a clarification that is coming strongly from the realists that yes, military force is important and significant, but may not be suitable for all purposes. Now, they are not using that word, but all purposes is actually what it means: abuse of power. I mean, these. I don't know how much you know, but U.S. war in Iraq, U.S. war in Afghanistan. U.S. has sent so much of its military there to wage a war against them under some pretext. That's the abuse of power. You are using power, but after all, okay. So in a way, you are following the realist or the realism, but you are really exploiting it as well. You get my point? You are following it, but also you are exploiting it. Exploitation also you are doing. We will discuss this as well. So don't worry if you are not able to. We will probably, since we have another class and it is going too heavy, maybe some parts of it. This slide also we will do, and then we will conclude. Okay, and then your attendance. So variants of realism can be seen in the form of balance of power theory, hegemonic stability theory, and realism at the state level. Now, some of these theories were also mentioned in that chart that we had discussed this week. Okay, we will connect that in the second lecture today. But let me read this. So international stability will result from balancing power. There is a theory of IR. We need a balance of power. That's how stability will be ensured. We have so many movies, even in India, on this concept of, in Hindi we say Shakti ka santulan banaye rakhna zaruri hai. Shakti ka santulan, right? And on the basis, so it's a very important theory of IR, which is a variant or an offshoot, OFF shoot, SHOOT. Anthony, please mute yourself. So it's an offshoot of realism or a variant of realism. Hegemonic stability, international stability from one dominant power that ensures a degree of order in the system. International stability from, and that's what United States has done. Okay, as a hegemony from one dominant power that ensures a degree of order. Okay, and realism at the state level, like within the state. And the first two features are at the international, beyond the nation state, the balance of power, as well as the hegemonic stability, right? We will discuss this. We will start from here. And also we will see if you have any doubts or concerns from this lecture that we may take up in the second lecture. Okay, and then we will further go ahead and try to complete this today. Maybe also discuss aspects of liberalism. Many times one is able to understand a concept better when we compare and contrast. So if you compare and contrast liberalism and realism, you will be able to understand each other even better. Okay. So, well, of course, I will take attendance for this class. Some of you got logged out, but then I readmitted you probably because of a technical glitch, right? Hassan, Anthony, especially both of you, Humphrey. But did you follow the lecture? Did you understand what we have done today?
Sir.
Okay. So please unmute your mic as and when I call out your name. Okay. Karan. 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 Not responding. Vishal.
Present, sir.
Hassan. Vivek.
Present, sir.
Anthony.
Present.
Amarjeet.
Present, sir.
Ali.
Present, sir.
Neha.
Present, sir.
Varda.
Present, sir.
Yeah, I got your message. That's fine. Isaac.
Present, sir.
Moses.
I'm present, sir.
Yes. Yes, Moses. And yes, Neha. Of course. I marked you present. So don't worry. Disha.
Sir.
Yes, Isaac, you're present.
Present.
No, this is Humphrey.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think you are having a technical problem.
Yes, but I've been present. My
Sir,
network is
did you call my name?
Yes, of course. Where were you?
Yes, sir. There was a network glitch, so I couldn't answer.
Yeah, but you have to be alert.
Yeah, that's why I asked, sir.
Otherwise, write on the chat here in case you couldn't unmute.
No,
Have
but
to-
sir, I didn't know that you call out my name, so I asked you because
Yes.
there was a glitch. So
Yeah, yours was the first name I called today.
okay, sir.
Disha,
Present, sir.
Pinky,
Present, sir.
Yatri,
Present, sir.
Ayush,
Present, sir.
Henry,
present, sir.
Rushi,
Present, sir.
Yashraj. Yashraj.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Humphrey is present. That's fine. Shabir.
Present, sir.
Jitendra.
Present, sir.
Okay. Anyone else that I missed out maybe? But he or she is present here. Moses. I think I marked.
I'm present, sir.
Yeah, fine. So take care until our next lecture, which will be after an hour from now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you and see you later. Bye. Take care.